Hello, my name is Terry White, Worldwide Design Evangelist for Adobe Systems, and I'm very happy in this next few minutes that I get to show you some of my favorite new features in Creative Suite 5 Design Premium. So let's start off with Photoshop, and this is just so great for me because I get to show you things I'm really excited about. So for example, I've got this horse here, and the object that I need to do, or the objective, is that I need to move the horse over. Well, of course, it's on a background, so I need to select it and duplicate it and do all those kinds of things. Well, now that's easier than ever inside of the new Photoshop CS5. So let's go ahead and load a quick selection here. I'm just going to go ahead and load one that I did earlier with the quick select tool. Nothing fancy, and I've actually missed part of the mane and the tail because it's kind of hard to do that and get a good selection with this quick select tool when you have this mixture of selection types. But now, with the brand new refined edge enhancements, I can not only switch what kind of background I want to see this on, but more importantly, I can go in now using the new edge detection and smart radius. I can turn those on, and I can just simply visually watch the adjustment of how much hair it's picking up or fur it's picking up of that mane. And I can tell how much detail I'm getting and still keeping the detail in the horse's body as well. So now I'll go ahead and make that selection. We'll just go ahead and duplicate that onto its own layer with a Command J, pretty typical in Photoshop. Now we'll turn off that new one. We'll go to the background because now we still need to get rid of the old horse because we got a new one now. So let's go ahead and do that by grabbing our select feature again. We'll load in another selection. This time we're going to load in one that's a little bit more liberal. And it kind of just picks up everything around the horse, including some of the area or detail of the background. But now I can just simply hit my delete key, and that will bring up the brand new content aware fill option. Instead of just leaving it with the background color, I can actually have Photoshop analyze the surrounding area, analyze all of that, including the fence, and decide what should be there based on what it would look like if the horse were never there. And I just can't stop doing this. This is so amazing. So now that I've got that in place, the next thing we can do is turn back on our original horse. We'll go ahead and grab the move tool, and now we can just move him over. And this is just gonna save so much time. I love it. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to Illustrator. And in Illustrator, I'm just more of a fan of what we can do with these beautiful strokes now. So for example, I'm gonna go to my variable width tool here. And with my variable width tool, I have the ability to place these points anywhere on a path. And I can actually vary the width of the path anywhere along the path. And of course, I can hold down like my Option or Alt key to kind of get it exactly the way I want it. And this is just going to make it more expressive for people that want to do drawing, but haven't mastered the pressure sensitivity to get it just right. So you can make your artwork look great. And again, it's still the same paths no matter what. All you're doing is adding width points to it. Now, before I leave this, I'm going to pop over to a different view, and this is kind of one of those things that has always been a chore and a pain, but now we've solved it with the brand new stroke abilities here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my stroke panel. Now let's grab the right selection here. And now with this dashed line created here, you notice that the dashes don't necessarily end on the corners. And that's always been a challenge because it's basically just doing it uniformly around the object. Well, now with a single click, I can just reposition my dashes so that they end perfectly on every point. It's awesome. All right, so now let's go ahead and switch over to InDesign. There's so many things to love about the new InDesign CS5, but I'm going to point out just a couple of my favorites. All right, so now let's go ahead and I want to make this interactive. I want to make this animated, actually. So I'm going to select the live text here, and now I'll go to my new animation panel. And in that panel, I get to choose presets, and these are the same exact presets in Flash Professional. So I can go ahead and say fly in from the top, and not only will I get a little animated, the butterfly lives, I'll get a little animated preview, but it also shows me on the actual object an editable motion path that I can go in and tweak with my pen tool to my heart's content. Now the next thing I want to do is I want everything to play together. I've animated several things on this, so I'll just go to my timing panel, and I'll just go ahead and select all of the objects that are here. And now I'll just go ahead and say that I want them to play all together. Now, before we preview this, there's one more thing. As a photographer, I'm constantly looking for ways to show off my work. So one of the ways I can do that now is with an interactive slideshow that I can build right inside of my brochure, my interactive brochure for my website. So let's go ahead and select all of these individual images. We'll just use our alignment options here in the Align panel to align them to the left and align them to the top so they're perfectly stacked on top of each other. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to make them into a multi-state object. I want InDesign basically to treat them as one object called buildings. Now that I've got that one object, I want to wire up the buttons so that my customers or my users will be able to flip through those images. So I'll go to my buttons panel and I'll just simply say that left button on release goes to the previous state. That's it. That's how hard it is. No code writing, nothing. It's easy. So now I'll select the right button and do the same thing. On release, I want it to go to the next state for the buildings object. So now that I've done all this, I want to actually see how it all works. So without having to leave InDesign, I can actually play a preview of this. And what it's doing is it's actually loading an instance of the Flash player directly inside of InDesign, and not only letting me preview my animation and my live and my sound and everything that's happening. Hear the buzzing when I hover over that. But anyway, I get my rollovers that fly out. I get basically all of the kinds of things that I've always wanted to learn how to do or do inside of Flash Professional, I can now do in an environment that I'm comfortable with inside of InDesign CS5. And of course, once I'm done with this, I have the ability to export it out directly into the Swift format, which will let me just put it right on my website, or I can hand it off to a Flash developer in Flash Professional CS5 if they need to take it any further. That's it in just a few minutes. The kind of cool things I'm so excited about. I love Creative Suite 5, love Design Premium. Hope that you love it too. Thanks for watching.